with two stories which reflect the changing face of legal education. Mind you, these stories are not apocryphal, they're true stories. One is of 2010, the other is of 2018. We are a very tough but erudite judge in the Bombay High Court when I was at the bar, and then we were colleagues on the bench. And I asked him whether the story was true, and he said that yes, it is true, I swear by my honor. A very young junior got up before him at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and said, "My lords, what is the time?" So the judge was astounded. To ask a judge a question and then to ask a judge, "What's the time?" So he said, "Do you realize what you're asking me? Do you realize what you're asking me? You never ask a question to a judge, and certainly not, what's the time?" So he says, "There's a big clock. Can you not see the clock?" "Well, why did you ask me what's the time?" So the young junior said, "Well, sir, my senior told me to come to your court and ask for time." Whether that is a flaw of legal education, or whether that is a flaw of what we dispense in terms of education to young juniors in our chambers. But let me come down to 2018, and that's a story close to my heart, and you'll really forgive me for sharing it with you. When I was Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, between 2013 and 2016, a very young, unconnected law student used to shadow me. He said, "Well, can I come and intern with you for a few months?" So I said, "Certainly, please do come and work with me." And I found that this young boy was outstanding. And when I came to the Supreme Court, he said, "Well, I'd like to do a little clerkship with you." Unfortunately, we have the opportunity to select one out of the 3 clerks. The others are provided by the Supreme Court of India. And as we went along, I realized when he applied for admission to Harvard Law School last year, he never disclosed this to me, but when he showed me his statement of purpose, I realized that he is a Dalit who comes from Lucknow, from a very small family, was fortunate to get into the Ramano Lohia National Law University, worked extraordinarily hard, wrote extensively on issues as diverse as manual scavenging, on Dalit rights, on constitutional law. He wrote for all the popular sites that you have, The Wire, The Caravan, Bar and Bench, Live Law, you just name it, and he was writing for these sites, plus working to prepare 117 matters that were listed before us when I was sitting with the Chief Justice soon after he was taken over. Well, he got into Harvard Law School, and Harvard has given him a scholarship of $55,000. And so I just believe, these are two, it's easy to criticize, but that's the emerging side of legal education and the new generation that we are breeding today in the profession of youngsters who are dynamic, youngsters who are committed, and youngsters who have the vision to succeed, irrespective of their origins or the handicaps that their early upbringing have cast upon them. So I really began with a story which was a little bit of a joke, but then the second story I thought has inspired me, and I thought I might share this very inspirational story with you. In terms of legal education, basically, your discussion is divided into entry-level barriers and issues in dispensing legal education generally. Now, at the entry level, you have in India, as you know, the common law admission test, CLAT, which is the qualifying entrance exam for the national law schools. Now, I want to begin by telling you that we have a very flawed idea of meritocracy, and the test is largely exclusionary in nature. It is attacked on 2 premises, which is the argument of quality and the argument of efficiency. And the reason I'm going to spend 2 minutes dwelling on this is that it is in terms of the input which we get from young students that we are going to generate an output for the future in our society, not just as lawyers, but as thought leaders. The President of India, as you know, is essentially a lawyer. He was a member of the Supreme Court Advocate and Record Association. So it is when you generate truly committed social leaders that you will be able to change the face of India in the next 30 or 40 years. Now, recently there was a study by Professor Shamnath Bashir, and the outcome of the study, I'll give you what it is very briefly. First, that the CLAT is class-based. 83% of the students hailed from families with incomes above 3 lakhs, and more than 50% of the students had a family income of more than 7 lakhs. Second, it is language-based. 97% of the students studied class 12 in English medium schools. Almost 90% of the surveyed students had fathers who knew English very proficiently, and 70% of their mothers were fluent in English. Third, it was region-based. In the 2018 batch of the National Law Schools, there's been almost no student from Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Goa, Chhattisgarh, Manipur, Mizoram, or Tripura. 80% of your students have an urban orientation. So 80% of your students come from purely urban areas. Injustice is not confined to the urban areas in India. It's predominantly rural. And finally, religion. 86% of your students in the National Law Schools are Hindus. A minuscule 1.6% are Muslims. So this gives you now the pattern of what we are inducting into the law schools, the National Law Schools. There are other impediments as well. Students may not have knowledge of the common law admission test. Each application form costs 4,000 rupees. Online applications are submitted. 16% of our population has access to the internet. So you're essentially opening up access to only 16% of your population. The questions in the CLAT are basically from mainstream media on visualizations. So for a young student from a rural area who has no access to mainstream media or the kind of visualizations which students learn in English-speaking schools, you're basically placing them at a disadvantage in gaining access to the best law schools in the country. So I think we have to change the future of legal education. We need to change the future of CLAT and the very basic approach of CLAT. Let me now, in another 5 minutes, talk about the second part of my presentation, which is what are the recent trends of legal education in India. First, I think there are some heartening features. The first is the introduction of courses of an interdisciplinary nature. Knowledge of subjects like sociology, history, economics, and political science make students aware about our social and economic reality. And as I will share with you, a lot of judging which we do is not judging about law. It's about understanding Indian society. If you do not understand society, you don't understand the law, which is really something in the perspective of society. Second, I think it's important that we encourage students to pursue non-traditional legal careers in fields like legal journalism, in social work, in the academia. We are talking about generating lawyers, but we are not talking about generating good law teachers. Unless you generate good law teachers, you will never generate good lawyers. Now, we have a 2-year LLM program, which we have now reduced to a 1-year LLM program. We thought it was too long to study for 2 years, especially because the international universities have a 1-year LLM. Are we really equipping our young students who could pursue careers in legal education? Everybody doesn't have the sort of wherewithal, this kind of dynamism, perhaps being street smart as well to be a good lawyer. There are youngsters, men and women, who would rather pursue a career in legal education. But are we really giving them the kind of input in terms of research to be good legal teachers? I think we need to focus on improving the quality of teaching for students to become law teachers, because they are the people who are going to generate good lawyers and good law professors in the future. Second is the introduction of clinical legal education. Rajiv has spoken a lot about that, and I'm not going to dwell too much on this. The third important feature which is now taking place is the change in research methodologies. There is an increasing focus in our universities on empirical methods as opposed to traditional doctrinal methods for imparting training in law. Indu referred to the death penalty research project which was conducted at the Delhi National Law University, which entailed interviews of prisoners, their families, as well as legal representatives of prisoners. The research data presented a realistic account of the individual's experiences as well as insights into the legal system. So we have to have a proliferation of centers which are dedicated to reaching, such as the massive open online courses, the MOOCs across the world, and therefore even in India, have increased access to legal education. Increased engagement and access to materials from across jurisdictions. Finally, I want to dwell on a very important issue, which is increasing access and diversity. The lack of diversity in our law schools in the country is very pronounced. A notable endeavor which has taken place recently is the IDEA initiative, which is increasing diversity, increasing awareness. The IDEA project involves the mentoring of students from underrepresented and marginalized groups by students themselves who are studying at the elite law schools. The assistance which is rendered from the stage of the entrance exam, the students receive mentoring as well as financial aid while studying at the law school. So I think these are important initiatives for us to improve diversity in our law schools. Finally, last 2 points and I'll be done. First, there is a common refrain that some of our best law students are not coming into litigation, they are going into law firms. The answer is very simple. Supply meets demand. Today, let me ask a few difficult questions. Are we able to meet the aspirations of our young lawyers who have just left law schools? How do we conduct recruitments to our chambers? Let's face it, is the recruitment to chambers truly open? Is it merit-based? Or is it an old boys club of people who are connected getting into slots into chambers? Unless we have an open and transparent system where young lawyers can gain access to the top chambers without being connected in the law, we will not be able to diversify either in terms of social orientation. Second, we need to create a secure role for young women lawyers. And I can share this with you. I've had a large number of interns. Who are young women who have repeatedly complained to me about the absence of secure conditions of work were they to go into the legal profession. There is no guarantee about the fact that they will be able to maintain their dignity in the legal profession, that they would not be hit upon, by people in the legal profession. Young woman after woman who has interned with me has mentioned this to me, and it's really something which is extraordinarily disturbing. Are we allowing our young women secure conditions of work in the legal profession? If we do not, these young women who are going to contribute tomorrow to the legal profession in terms of becoming outstanding lawyers, in terms of becoming outstanding judges, in becoming thought leaders for the country, they are not going to come into the profession because there will be other avenues where they will take to work. So we need to address these fundamental problems. There's no point in us brushing these problems under the carpet. There is an absence of equal access. And unless we generate equal and secure access to men and women, our profession is going to be deeply skewed. We are not going to allow genuine talent to enter into the legal profession. So I think as we move forward, we need to think about a legal profession which is far less feudalistic, far more attuned to the reality of emerging India, and far more consistent with the values which the Constitution tells us that we must espouse.